it all. Settle the score. No, I will not take a loss. Taking it all. Kicking the door. Dropping you down to the floor. We taking it all. Ready for war. Better than ever before. Taking it all. Breaking the walls. My blood is hard to the core. We taking it all. I have been destined to win. Alpha Omega the end. Let it begin. Give you a scope through my lens. I do not follow no dreams. You see the light. You can believe all the hype. Relentless from day to the night. You're paying me twice. Tell them my time is now. I'm active and ready to fight. Into the struggle, the hustle, the pain. I see the smiles from the fake on their face. This is my time. Ain't no time to waste. The warrior's ready to scream in my name. Taking it all. Settle the score. No, I will not take a loss. Taking it all. Kicking the door. Dropping you down to the floor. We taking it all. Ready for war. Better than ever before. Taking it all. Breaking the walls. My blood is hard to the core. We taking it all.
Yeah, so we're about to.
I am controlling the game. You should not step in my lane. We not the same. I am elite, know the name. The legacy runs through my veins. I am a king. I do not ever pretend. Straight to the top, I ascend. Say it again. Straight to the top, I ascend. I'm ruthless, I'm 10 out of 10. Ready for struggle, the hustle, the pain. I see the smiles from the fake on their face. This is my time, ain't no time to waste. The warrior's ready to scream in my name. Taking it all. Settle the score. No, I will not take a loss. Taking it all.
It's Off the Ropes, episode 26. We're going to recap WWE Backlash France. Hello, everyone. My name is Brett Swinney. I'm a host. I've got a few characters here tonight. We got the professor, Mr. Matt Diggs. Welcome, Matt. How's it going, sir?
I'm just getting I'm practicing my French crowd. You got to get your cell phone and lights on and party.
And then we got Dirt Sheet Brandon is here. Welcome, Dirt Sheet. Hey, I don't know what it is, but I feel like that ever since the professor's returned, you've ran off everybody that we've brought in on the show, Professor. So please try not to run off our special guest tonight, my daughter, Princess Camden. Welcome, Camden. How's it going?
Good.
So please be nice. Camden did tune in and watch Backlash with me. And so she's going to join us for a little bit tonight. Since we ran off, with Swaggy's, he's being a maid tonight. He's got his girlfriend sick, had some tooth removal, so he's out tonight. KO's watching a U8 softball game. And then I think Jeremy's watching, he's somewhere in Brook Hill. He's always busy these days. So everybody's kind of off tonight. So it's just the four of us tonight.
I'm a polarizing figure, Brett. I tried to tell you that when you brought me in, and you wait till we get back to football picks. Nobody's going to be coming around. Your buddies on the Beast of East Texas show, they don't want anything to do with me anymore. I think they blocked me on Twitter too, so I don't know about that.
Oh man, I've even got my son's even he's probably upset.
A tag team partner.
Yeah, he's got a tag team. Man, just starting off, guys. I mean, immediately when I turned this pay-per-view on, the atmosphere of the arena, and Matt, you mentioned it. I mean, it was. I don't know that I've seen a WWE live event with that much. Just the crowd, the entire night was just on fire. Like even if the match wasn't, they were just on fire. They didn't care. They were just happy it's there. And I would suspect that it will be returning there, guys.
Yeah, it was an awesome crowd. I think they'll get another PLE soon, and I think we're not far off from a WrestleMania, an international WrestleMania. Obviously next year we found out next year's in Vegas, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 3-4 years if we don't get a WrestleMania in either England or either France. Or that France crowd though you could sense it on SmackDown, and then it just carried over through Backlash, and I don't know what they were saying half the time, but it was on fire.
Yeah.
It was funny. You could tell sort of what they were chanting, but I know Camden. She was like, "Daddy, what are they chanting?" I'm like, "I have no earthly idea, but they're excited to be there." That was for
McAfee
sure.
mentioned last night because McAfee wasn't there, and he had even asked Cole. He said, there's something they were saying after a 2 count, and Cole's like, I don't even know either, but it was awesome.
It was crazy. I mean, it made some of the matches better, even though the crowd made some of the matches. Like, I thought they were all really good, solid matches to me, but I think the crowd kind of swayed me to make it feel like it was a huge match, even if it wasn't.
Fortunately, I took French in high school. I was one of those people that took French instead of Spanish. So I can count to 3, which is un, deux, trois, which I think they were chanting quite a bit. They were getting the French chants of 1, 2, kind of a thing. But I got a counterpoint for you. I have a psychological counterpoint for you. We're going to get into my psychology thing, my psychology background right here. I've not watched all of Raw. I've watched the first hour of Raw. So I will at least give you that information.
We haven't watched it either. It's on our to-do list.
But I can tell you, and this doesn't spoil anything for you. The first 20 minutes, Jey Uso came out, and the difference in the crowd with Jey Uso in Hartford, Connecticut, which is Northeast, is an up, is a big part of the thing, big part of WWE's footprint, and what you got in France was night and day. It's like Hartford was this dead crowd compared to France, and I think that's going to be a problem because you're going to come to all these other cities, Chicago, Detroit, and some of these Wichita, Kansas. When you go to Wichita, Kansas, and you have that dead crowd, it's going to be hard to go back to Wichita, Kansas anymore. So I think it could be a problem when you have crowds that lively and then you come back to the U.S. and you have this big disparity. It could be a problem.
Yeah, I could see that. It's definitely, I enjoyed it. Like, it made me want to be there. Like, almost made me feel like I was there. I mean, that's something I haven't seen. We've seen some of that with AEW crowds in the past, but the WWE crowd has, they've kind of, you just never know. It's hit or miss. When The Rock was coming around and that the crowd was pretty hype. We got to go to SmackDown back in March, and it was a really hot crowd, and the crowds were hot then. But man, it's just that France crowd was just something special, and I think that you could tell the wrestlers when they came out, they just kind of took it in, took extra long entrances. You could tell it right away when Kevin Owens came out right off the bat. And he just kind of stood there and was taken in. And of course, Randy Orton came right behind him. And they were just looking around like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You could just tell that even the wrestlers, I'm sure, like Brandon said, SmackDown was hot, but that PLE was just on fire, like from the very first. And the first match to me was one of my favorites. Matt, there's your story. We immediately came out and they just attacked each other, which I think that fits, right? They don't like each other. They just kind of brawled, and they come out and give us what we want, a street fight. They just go all over the arena. I think it fit. It was perfect. It gave the no disqualification, which gave the Bloodline the opportunity to add their newest member. Not the member I was thinking. So they may have it may be a bigger group than what we think now. And so wow, just the fact that they came out and Tonga Loa made his debut. Guys, I was into the whole match. I loved the whole match. I thought it was great. You just didn't know what was going to happen, and then they add the element of expanding the bloodline. What we thought, but they swerved me. I think I wasn't the only one. I didn't see anything dirt sheet. You may correct me, but I didn't really see anything about Tonga Loa coming out.
No, it caught me off guard too, and I'm sure we were all in the same. I don't know. Did any of y'all watch Backlash live?
Mm-mm.
And so when none of us watched it live, I didn't. I watched it later in the day, and I hadn't heard anything about 8 hours later. And I'm watching, and I'm like, man, I started to think, man, maybe someone didn't come out because I hadn't heard anything about it, and I thought, accidentally, but I did a good job of avoiding stuff, and then he comes out, and it just caught me off guard, and it took me a second to even realize who it was, because when we hadn't seen him in WWE in a long time, and it was under different names when he was in WWE, and then they'd obviously done their New Japan stuff and all over the world, and I was also surprised that he's younger than Tama Tonga. He looks old.
And
he looks really old.
He is huge.
He is, and
he's a big boy. He makes Solo look kind of small. I guess he's like the new enforcer now.
Bloodline 2.0 is definitely different than what we're used to with Roman, the Usos, and Solo. But I like what they're somehow keeping this going. We thought the Bloodline was, Cody was crumbling the Bloodline, and Sami and Kevin crumbled the Bloodline, and they're gonna make this like a 6-year story somehow. And
so
it's keeping us interested.
Because Professor was pooping all over the Bloodline story, and I told him, I said, "Hey, just give it some time." How are you feeling now, Matt?
I mean, we predicted this to happen. I mean, like all of us said, they're going to win, but it's going to win by outside interference, probably the introduction of a new member. And I guess I'm not dirt cheap Brandon, obviously not, but I didn't even know who that was. I don't know who Tama looked like. So, when they come out, it's just like you could just put random generic Samoan wrestler out there and give them a random generic Samoan name. And I don't know these people, so I'm not invested in them. So I'm not impressed.
Oh, well, Camden, what do you think about this match?
I liked it because I didn't know what was going to happen. There was so much excitement, and I just really liked it.
You did? Did you like the fact that they got to wrestle all over the ring?
Yeah. I really like that it was a straight fight because then they got to do whatever they want, and that was definitely my favorite match.
Okay. All right. Hey, that says a lot because Bianca Belair is her favorite wrestler, and so saying that was her favorite match, that's pretty big there.
Well, it was because it was a straight fight, and I just really love straight fights.
And street fights are all over the place anyway, but I thought this one was more chaotic than normal. This match was complete chaos, and it was beautiful in that aspect. It was like one of those things like, I don't really even care anymore. this is fun. It got, it wasn't a pure wrestling match at all, but it was fun to watch. And that brain buster that Kevin did through the chairs was incredible. Yeah. But yeah, it was just fun to see everybody go all over the place, and it was just pure chaos, which with that crowd, it worked perfectly.
And it made sense.
If you didn't have Cody AJ, you could have made that the main event. And while it's a terrible main event for that night and that crowd, it would have made sense, and I'd have been fine with it.
Well, I think it made sense, and they made the match make sense instead of getting a regular tag match where there's going to be a lot of cheating and rule. Let's just go ahead and take the rules out from the beginning. I like the way they did that and set up the match. Because you could have, gone out there and then they cheat, whatever. But I like the way that they made it part of the rules. It was legal. Bloodline took advantage. That's their MO. And now I'm interested to see, they didn't get Jacob Fatu. Do we get a even bigger Bloodline? This is going to be really interesting now where they go next. Because now I guess Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are going to have to find some more help. They may have found someone Raw. I don't know. Of course, that's a SmackDown story, I guess, technically. So, but we don't know. They come back and forth. I don't think the rosters are actually finalized until yesterday, right?
So, right, but the Bloodline's now on Raw, and
that's right, true.
Yeah, but last night was the start of, and I did watch Raw. I actually watched Raw live just because I knew we were doing the show tonight, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and watch Raw. Like I'm threw it on with the basketball game last night and watched it. Just I was like, hey, I'm caught up. I know I have a busy week ahead, so I was like, I'm gonna watch Raw and watch it live, and because I knew they were doing all the King of the Ring matches too, so it was hard to keep up. It's like, wait, this person's on Raw now. Even though we watched the draft and talked about the draft, it's catching up. This person's on Raw. This person's gonna be on SmackDown. So
well, they didn't do the whole thing. You got that supplemental, so they could have moved some folks without announcing it. We loved it. We had such great reviews of the WWE draft. If you've missed that and you're watching, go back and watch it. You can find out our thoughts of the draft itself. But I mean, honestly, I thought this was probably my favorite match of the night, just because some of these I already knew kind of how they were going to turn out, and so this one I didn't. I knew how I thought it was going to end, but who they brought out was not who I thought, and it wasn't some random Samoan, Mr. Professor. If you'd watch in New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's the Bullet Club members, man. They're bringing them over. It's the new Bullet Club now.
I don't know these people. I didn't know them on AEW. Don't know them now. I didn't realize watching New Japan Pro Wrestling was going to be a prerequisite to coming on this podcast.
Hey, Diggs, though. Diggs, do you remember in WWE? Do you remember Hunico and Camacho?
No.
Okay, it was
Is
about
that
8
well,
years ago.
Gato El Phantasmo in NXT? I don't know those people.
Well, this was. I mean, these guys were in WWE. They were a tag team WWE for about 5 years, and but Camacho is now Tongaloa.
Yeah, we can tell. Matt, you got to go and do your research on the Samoan family tree here before our next show.
And I
need to get a graphic. They had that graphic on WrestleMania where they had the big tree thing going on. So I guess we're gonna have to memorize that and have a test.
We'll have to bring it on and put it up on the screen here so we can have the official who's available for the Bloodline to
I think we'll get someone at King of the Ring too. I don't know if that'll be Jacob Fatu time, but I think we will get someone at King of the Ring in one of the matches, whether it's the King of the Ring final or I feel like we'll get a new addition to the Bloodline somewhere in that at that premium live event.
They got me interested now, so I'm like, where's this going? I mean, I'm interested. I never really lost like maybe some of you. I was still intrigued. I knew they're not going to get rid of this storyline because finally is going to have to turn around where Roman is now the good guy when he comes back, and I think this makes it really interesting. Just the family going at it at some point. I'm really excited for that, and I'm excited to see where they kind of how they get there to that point. But again, great opening match. The crowd was hyped. That was just exactly what they needed. I'm with Brandon. This could have been the main event. I mean, I would have been just fine with the main event being this. Of course, you just kind of had to put Cody and AJ, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But any other thoughts on the opening match, guys, before we move on to the next one?
Just fun. I agree. It was the match of the night. Good spots that, like we talked about, that brain buster and just KO, man. He is great at those street fights, and he continues to deliver. A very
Uncle Kevin, right?
I don't want to call him underrated because he's been main event of WrestleMania. Man, he is such a star.
Don't prop that. We need to make sure we preface it. This is Uncle Kevin, not our KO, right?
That's right.
Okay, just making sure you were propping KO up like he was a star. I didn't want you to, him up too much. So he may be listening while he's watching some softball tonight. So you don't want to make his head too big. He's got this new job gig now. So he's even a bigger star than before. So we don't want to give him too much big head. Uh-oh, we lost the professor for a second. We'll get him back. It must be that DFW connection. I don't know what it is up there in DFW.
It happens.
All right, match 2, women's WWE Women's Championship match. Bayley retains over Tiffany Stratton and Naomi, and I'm almost send this over to our one person that picked Tiffany Stratton here and was the loser of the Pick'em contest, the professor, Matt Diggs. You lost the Pick'em. I'm sorry, Matt. That was you went on a limb. You could have maybe you've gotten that yourself, but you didn't go right. What did you think about this match here?
It didn't go well. And one thing this probably of all of the things I was shocked by, not that she lost, how unover she was in France. Like everybody was popular in France, but when Tiffany came out, it was like crickets. I mean, Naomi came out, huge pops, Bayley, huge pops, everybody. But Tiffany came out like nothing in France. And I guess maybe the American crowds are taking to her differently because she seems over in the United States, but did not get any of the French love. So once I saw that, I was like, well, she ain't winning there because they're not going to let her go over, even if she was booked to go over with that kind of reaction. So, but like I think we all said, great match, great flow. That best moonsault ever is a fantastic move, and the way she can flip out of it. I mean, she performed, but at the end of the day, she just wasn't over. And y'all called it. Bayley pinned Naomi, and she pinned her clean, and it wasn't even a definitive win. And good call for the crew.
They shook hands afterward, and they were good. Camden, what did you think about this women's match?
I didn't really watch it.
You didn't watch this one?
Because you were asleep, and I didn't. Beckham wanted me to do things. So
you didn't get to watch this one? Well,
yeah. But I think I think they did really well.
Yeah.
Besides, I'm not watching it.
Okay. Do you think that was who you thought was going to win? Was Bailey?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Because Tiffany is not as good as Bailey, and Naomi is not as good as Bailey.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay. I kind of thought Bailey, they did so much to build her to get her that WrestleMania moment. I think they're going to give her a little run at least. She will put somebody over at some point, and it probably will be Tiffany at some point. I mean, she is, like Matt said, she's over so much in the U.S. I think it was more noticeable just because the France crowd was so loud that maybe her pop wasn't any different than normal, but just everybody else's was just so much over the top that maybe that was the difference. Because I don't think she got a bad reaction. I just think she just got her normal reaction. Everybody else was like, turned up to 20 on the volume dial. I don't know, but I enjoyed the match. There was good spots. They worked well. They did a good job of, throwing somebody out, the two working together. Then the other person comes in, breaks up the pin. They did a really good job, and of course, all three of them can go in the ring. So it was a very, very good match. I thought, I honestly knew who was going to win. I knew who was going to win, but I was entertained. I mean, it wasn't like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom match. It was a good match.
And part of, you're talking about the reaction to Tiffany. I think part of it with her is she doesn't have a song that, like, saw the ones that were really getting over with the France crowd was people with songs they can sing. And then with Bailey, she doesn't. But Bailey has, when she's a face, she has that chant, the "Hey, we want some Bailey." Ooh, so like, they got things for her to chant. So that's why, like, she's always done well internationally because she had things crowds could chant. And it was the superstars and Tiffany's song you can't sing to.
It's Tiffy time though, Brendan. They need something.
Yeah.
They've got to do something, to get that. I agree. The song does make it, because, like, to me, if they would maximize Bailey that much more if they brought back her NXT theme. Like, that is the crowd goes nuts with that. Like, I know her song, she's like the role model or whatever now, but I really think that song would hit and the crowd would just go nutso for it. I mean, it really would. It's been so long since they've done it. I think the crowd would pop for it, and I think Tiffany does. I don't know if it's the themes they've had lately. To me, have just been kind of like the CFOs when they were doing the themes, they were so much better.
Yeah, a lot of the newer ones are not hitting it. But speaking of, like, I got something to say about Naomi's song, but then let's call back to the last match. But Randy Orton on SmackDown and on Backlash, the crowd singing his song was really cool.
He
was
I don't know. I've never seen that. I don't think really from Randy's song.
Kind of shooken up by it, like you could tell, like he even got emotional. It was like it was really cool to see. He I don't think he's ever noticed, like, that's never happened for him. I don't even know if at like a live event like that. He really that kind of. Because they were word for word, that was a cool visual and audio thing. But Naomi's, I don't know if you caught in her song, it had I don't know if it always does, but I didn't notice it until the other night. It has an ode to Jimmy in there. Had like it said something, and it had something from his song. I can't even remember. I'd have to look up, but what the exact wordage was. But I did make a note of that. It had like an ode to Jimmy in her song, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Well, just WWE does things like that. They drop little Easter eggs on you, whether it's intentional or not, but just something to, who knows if she's gets up with Jimmy in the Bloodline Wars eventually if they start adding women into it. So,
and then you got Nia Jax. You can throw her in something. They give her some purpose.
As far as this match goes, I thought it was a good match. Tiffany, those two Alabama slams she did on the table to each of them on each announce table. We had the French announce table for this one, and then Naomi and Bailey. Speaking of Jimmy and Jay and them, Naomi and Bailey teamed up for a 1D, and I thought that was pretty cool. But the match was good, but the finish was weird. Like when it finished, it didn't seem like that was the time for it to finish, and it was like not a. I don't even think Bailey hit a move. Like she just kind of snuck away. Like I was like, wait, it's over. Like I wasn't expecting a 3 count there, and we did expect Naomi to take the pin, but when it happened, the finish caught me off guard. but the match overall was good.
She tried to roll up Bailey, and then she countered it, and
I was expecting a kick out, but it didn't happen.
That was interesting. Good point. Any other thoughts on this match before we move on to the next match? Mr. Prime? No more Mr. Prime. I have to call him Mr. Prime Dirt Sheet Brandon. You might have to add that to the front of his.
We didn't get Mr. Prime on this card, but we will soon.
No, we didn't. You got to talk to your boy Logan Paul, Brandon.
We did have the hydration station. We've had, and it's been a different flavor each time too. So
yeah, that's true. It's always sitting there. It's no telling how much money they're getting WWE is for that.
It came into play a lot during that first match too. So.
They do use it a lot. It always gets somebody gets over there and ends up using it. So it's like they bring your attention right to it. So maybe that's part of the clause. You must use this in a match during the card. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we should do that on our live shows. We bring in the Prime Energy Station and turn the camera around and refuel our microphones. Hey, maybe that's what it takes to get us a Prime sponsorship. Hey, Prime, hit us up. Net us in at gmail.com. All right. Next up, we got the World Heavyweight Championship match, Damian Priest versus Jey Uso. I'm going to be honest, the match was fine. My favorite part was Jey Uso's intro. I mean, Jey Uso always gets a big intro, but man, it was popping, right, Cam? It was popping. I mean, they had the flashlights up. I mean, I felt like the whole building was shaking when Jey was entering the building. I mean, it was pretty impressive. I mean, it makes me just want to, y'all making me just want to get and work on it a little bit. But I mean, honestly, guys, that was my favorite part. The match was fine. I mean, Jimmy's a good worker. Priest, I don't know where they're going with him. I guess he's going to break off here at some point. You had Judgment Day come out, get involved in the match, even though he doesn't want them out there. I don't know if they addressed that on Raw. They do, because he kind of just took it, and he won. So I'm interested to see what'll happen with that. But the match was okay. It was fine. It was a fine match. It wasn't terrible. I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing with Damian Priest right now. I don't know. He needs a direction. He needs to either split off from Judgment Day and let them kind of feud or something needs to happen there. I'm kind of over it. Poor Jey Uso, man. He's such a good worker. I wish they would let him win something in a singles way, because obviously his end game is going to be back with the Bloodline Wars at some point. I just feel like that he's got this time by himself. They could at least give him a little run somewhere.
Well, wait till you watch Raw. They did a little something with him last night. So
okay, all right. Well,
see what they're doing with him. So.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued by that. What'd you guys think of this match?
I thought it was fine. I mean, I wasn't expecting like a whole lot from it, and there's it's Judgment Day, so like the interferences are expected, but they really took. I thought they took away from this one. Just that they were just JD was out there a lot, and the Finn one kind of helped because it tells the story a little bit. Like, hey, they're eventually going to crumble, and they touched on it too after the match, and then again last night. And but I'd rather more just Finn been out there than JD's just kind of, I don't know. He's just there, and it was a fine match. I mean, it wasn't nothing we didn't expect. Damian won, and Jay got some super kicks in. But
before Matt comments, I want to ask you guys a question. For me, and this is going to sound really weird to say. I wouldn't have thought this a few years ago. The Judgment Day has not been as good without. I know Rhea's been out. That's also part of it. But without Dominic being involved in much, him being injured has really hurt. Like, I really love to hate Dominic when he'd come out. Like, that was part of their stick. Like, he just gets booed every time he gets to talk. Now I don't necessarily care. I mean, JD McDonough has never really been anything but just a guy that goes out and interferes with matches. I don't know if he's ever won a match. Finn Balor is good by himself. I don't know that he needs this this group, and I'd like to see him kind of break away from it because I think it brings him down. He's such a good worker in the ring. But Dominic Mysterio and Rhea were Judgment Day, and if they're not there, I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean you're completely right about that. Judgment Day, the way that they're kind of telling that
R-Truth
story
entertained me
is
more than what they're doing right now, Matt. I mean,
and one thing that, and am I representative of the WWE universe? I don't know, but I was watching this match at 2:30 in the morning, and I was doing the Jey Uso thing with the crowd. I was having fun. Nobody here and then I was kind of looking around like, anybody seeing me act like a fool right now? Because Jey Uso's intro, and it really talks about how important those little things are. We touched on it last week, and y'all even touched on it a little bit with the music and how Tiffany doesn't really have a musical thing that people can get into. Jey Uso may get over just because of this entrance, and I mean, even you got Pat McAfee propping him up, and every week you see more and more crowds getting into it. I love to see
McAfee on the table. It's so hilarious.
Yeah. But to me, this match was, y'all called it fine. To me, it was below average because it was telegraphed. You knew what was happening, and it was just pointless at the end of the day. If you're just going to let him come out there and have interference, here we are, Bloodline 2.0, just, we're going to have a cheat to win. What is Damian Priest? He's your champion, can't even get a win. I mean, without 3 near falls and basically 3 saves from his team, I don't care if that turns into a story. That's a weak champion. And right now, Damian Priest is a weak champion, and we deserve better.
But did you? I don't know if y'all saw Drew McIntyre actually tweeted about Damian's win and the finish and the match. Basically tweeted and called him out. And Drew McIntyre's work on Twitter lately, or X, has been phenomenal. He did it again last night with his feud with Punk. He's been phenomenal on social media lately, adding to and Drew's the last person you might have expected from, but before Mania through now, he pops off with something every day that adds to the story, and he did that there night. And it makes me think that he's going to – I think he's going to beat Damian at Clash of the Castle. And so –
they've already – with their back and forth, I'm already ready for the Punk McIntyre match. I mean, that's going
to be amazing. That's why I think Drew takes the title off of Damian at Clash of the Castle, and he'll have the championship until he faces Punk, whenever that is.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Camden, what do you think about this match?
I didn't watch all of it, but I know that Damian Priest won. And same with y'all. It was fine, but it wasn't the best.
It wasn't the best. It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
Okay.
But it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting Jey Uso to win.
Okay. Jey Uso a better champion.
Yeah, really.
At least I'd care about the champion right now. All right. I think we've said about all we can say about that match. Let's go down here to the next match on the card. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, the Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. All right, I'm gonna lead with my Bianca Belair expert next to me here. I'm gonna let her talk first. What do you think about the team of Bianca and Jade?
I really liked it.
You really liked the match?
Yeah, because it was just so cool. Because I don't know how to tell you. I love Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Those muscles.
The muscle.
Yeah. I didn't think the Kabuki Warriors had a chance. Not even a chance. Because with Jade Cargill, even with the Kabuki Warriors being champion, I didn't think they had a chance because Jade Cargill has those muscles, and I think it was a really good match. It was my second favorite.
Okay. Not surprised there.
I really liked it.
I'm not surprised there.
Why aren't you surprised?
Because you like Bianca Belair.
Oh.
No, I think what she's saying is they're a super team. They're putting them as a super, and I think the only way to beat a super team is they're going to beat themselves at some point. We've talked about this down the line. Something's going to happen. At some point, they're going to be feud. They're going to decide that somebody cost them the title, or they get pinned in a non-title match. Something down the line is going to break them where that's what cost them the belt, and then it's going to come to a head. I'm hoping that at WrestleMania, I want to see Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. I think that would be a huge match. That by that time they've given Jade some time in the ring to get. You can tell she's still a little green, but her power is crazy. The she did to Kairi Sane. Oh my gosh, she caught her and like reorganized everything in basically in air. That was just I've never seen anything like that. That was impressive to me. I mean, obviously we kind of knew who was going to win, and we kind of know where it's going. We'll see how they get there, but I think I'm excited for this to play out, and we get that I guess a dream match as all essence. You didn't think there was anybody in WWE that was going to be able to match Bianca Belair as far as athletic ability. Jade can. So I think they'll put on a great match in the ring once they get there, and they got plenty of time to tell a story while they get there. And behind the scenes, they're going to be working on this match. And by the time they get there, I think it's going to blow the top off of everybody's expectations.
This was a match I started to fall asleep in, and I don't think it was really the match's fault. It was a long Saturday, and I just finally caught up to me in this match, and and it ended, and I saw the end, and saw who won, and then I paused and like I'm going to bed. I'll watch the main event tomorrow. And when I got up the next day to start it, I made sure to rewind and rewatch not the whole match, but some of the match just to see. And I mean, it was good. I mean, it was what we expected. It wasn't a horrible match. It wasn't a great match. But you had four pretty good workers in the ring. I mean, Jade's still very green, but what they have her do, she does well. That they're using, like AEW did too. They're using her to her advantages, and having her in a tag team is good right now. And so, and it was no surprise to us that they became the tag champs. So.
Yeah, we booked this last week pretty much to the T. I think Jade is a little bit of a better worker already than people give her credit for. I mean, her one or two spots per match, and I get that's pretty much all she could do. But Kevin Nash had a career off having one or two spots, are fantastic and really fit with the styles of AEW and WWE. That springboard crossbody. I mean, you don't see, Ivy Nile doing things like that. And these are people who were expected, they're really good wrestlers. And at the end of the day, those are the memories you have, not if you can do a cross arm breaker or certain things. So she's doing well. I think she may be ahead of schedule. I thought she was ahead of schedule in AEW, so I don't get everybody dogging on her for not being a great wrestler right now. Can she put a 30-minute match on? I don't think 95% of the women's division can put a 30-minute match on right now. So, I think she's where she needs to be, and it's a super team, and it's going to be fun. And you can already see Bianca starting to plant those heel seeds, and I like that as well. I think Bianca might have to grow in as a heel, but I think she could probably be able to do it.
How do you
Diggs, and I'm not even
in a heel?
Diggs. I'm not even dogging on her. Like, it's more just I think it's because I have high expectations of what she can be. And she's not like, I think eventually she's going to be a star like that, like the Charlotte superstar. Like, we're going to have her main event WrestleMania against Charlotte at, main event WrestleMania against Charlotte. I don't think she could do that now. That's my only thing is that she's not to that level. I think eventually she gets to that level. But like you said, she's still good at what she does right now. But I think there is so much more we haven't seen yet that she will eventually get to. And maybe next WrestleMania or the next, but eventually we're going to be like, this is the best woman they have. Or that's what I feel like will happen. If she comes to fruition, I mean, we say this about football and basketball players too, and sometimes it never happens, but I feel like eventually she's going to be on that Charlotte level, and that like they're going to have an epic feud, but it may not happen, but that's the expectation I have.
Counterpoint, Brandon, I don't disagree with everything you said, but one thing I'm worried about in a kind of a good way for Jade is that she looks so much like a star right now. She may get pulled to Hollywood before we can have all of these dream matches because she
She will be
she's
in
there.
Hollywood one day. I agree with that 100%.
So, Camden, how do you feel about Bianca turning heel at some point?
Turning what? Like, what do
She'd
you
be
mean?
the bad person.
No, I love her.
Yeah, and I wonder that. I mean, Jade's a more natural heel than Bianca, so that would be a shocker if they did flip Bianca the other way.
No,
So I don't know.
no.
I guess we'll see.
I would hate that.
Then she can start using her hair again. She was a really good heel in NXT. She would use her hair and use it to her advantage and cheat. Yeah,
She was in that NXT.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah. She was at one point. All right, main event. WWE undisputed WWE Championship. I don't know how long they're going to keep that undisputed. They already dropped the Universal out of it, but we'll see how long they keep that. Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, the two Georgia boys, fighting it out. Guys, this match was really, really good. Again, I don't know. The entrance, Cody's entrance was electric. But they've given AJ this heel entrance that I'm not a fan of. I'm just going to be honest. It's just I mean, I know they don't want the fan to hear him. I guess that's why they took his entrance away. But man, I don't like it. I mean, it just doesn't do it for me. But I think the match itself, they went at it back and forth in the ring. I felt like it was an AEW type match. You have two guys that kind of painted the picture. These two guys both went out of the WWE, made their, I guess, career go and come back, and now they're these stars. And kind of both were Bullet Club leaders. Both went through the indie circuit, and kind of as AJ came in, Cody was leaving. So it was hard for me to believe that they had never had a match before. Like that, to me, you've got two wrestlers like that. And then the funny thing is kind of the thing that kind of makes it full circle. AJ Styles took the title off Cody's dad, Dusty, the NWA title. I think he said like 21 years ago, which makes you realize how good a shape AJ Styles is that can still go in the ring. I want to say he's 46, 47, somewhere in there. I think somewhere in that, but man, he can still go. I mean, he's older than I am. I feel like, man, I'm doing that. I'm going to wake up next week or two. I'm not doing anything. He's in incredible shape, probably the best shape of his life. He looks cut like you could just chisel him up. And they kind of showed an old picture of him back in TNA where he was like winning the X Division championship and stuff. He was a little guy. And they've got him bulked up, but he's still going. I mean, I was impressed. I mean, for a match that I knew the outcome, I really enjoyed this match. Getting to see these two guys go at it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm gonna give my dirt sheet Brandon for something here. I was reading something that this is a match with Vince would have never happened. He wouldn't have picked AJ as the main event for Cody. He would have went with a big, more box office, top star, box office draw. But this kind of shows you the new era, like just two pure wrestlers who, like, and you just gave the background of how they got there. And I mean, it was just a good wrestling match. No, yes, they're both from Georgia, and they tried to tell a story, but with them, you just wanted the wrestling, and it was just you needed you had a quick tournament, you needed an opponent for Cody, and Cody's had plenty of great story matches lately. This was just we got a hot crowd, let's have a good wrestling main event, and that's what it was.
Again, I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was a fine match. But you know what? Swerve and Claudio on AEW Collision was a fine match. I enjoyed that match. And at the end of the day, it comes on and it goes off, and you're not going to remember it in a couple of months. And these main eventers, you need to remember it, And I think in the Attitude Era, and all those main events had stipulations and, and like last man standing and I Quit matches and Hell in the Cells and all of these really memorable things. So when you had The Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker and Kane and all these big stars going at each other, it was memorable. And it wasn't because they could do, wrist locks. It was memorable because of the stories they told within that. And if we're trying to go back to that era, these are the kind of matches that are just going to get lost. And I fear they're going to grow old on the crowd sooner than later because we're so used to these story main events. And I get very worried that the crowd may get burned out. Remember, they turned on Cody in AEW because of just being really good matches, and that's it. And we could see that same thing happen here if you just burn them out on these 4.5 star matches that tell no story.
Yeah, the problem that they've got with Cody is everyone kind of knows where the end game is. So how do you keep people entertained until you get there, right? I mean, you think you've got this story with The Rock and all that coming down the line at some point. Maybe he ends up Solo comes after him first. I don't know, but you got to start doing something that's got some story. And I agree with that because I thought, I mean, really the build they did a good job of with not much time, like kind of telling this parallel stories with the two a little bit. I mean, it's better than what they used to have done. They used to have probably would just been like AJ Styles will just randomly come out and he'd have challenged Cody for the title and okay, let's go at Backlash, and they wouldn't have told any kind of story at all. So I give them credit for trying to at least say that they have never fought and they took similar paths and they had the story with his Cody's dad and they tried to give you at least some story in a short time frame. So I give them props for that. But how many times are you going to be able to do that before people get tired? They've got to find something. Someone needs to come out and attack Cody. Maybe we try to figure out who it is. They've got lots of things that they can do. They've just got to keep us, locked in because right now, I mean, I'm still intrigued in the Bloodline story, but Cody's, I don't know what I'm expecting from him. He's going to come out and I'm going to have I'm going to go bet again for him to win every match until he, faces. I mean, I don't care about the matches. I feel like, he's going to win. But I did enjoy the two going at it. It was a really good match. Just because they had never wrestled before. I mean, that was kind of cool, but I'm with you there, man. I don't know where they're going with him. They've got to find something to spark me to want to be, yes, be interested in Cody Rhodes until we get to the other. Hey, we got our first chat of the night. Man, Christian is chatting in. Welcome, Christian. Thanks for tuning in. We're just talking a little Backlash here, and as we wrap that up, I usually get it before, but my off topic for the night, and I sent it to you guys in the chat. Brandon, did you catch the QR code that flashed quickly up on your screen and then went away? The little drop of a hint there.
I know it happened, but I didn't follow up on like Dirt Sheet Brandon, where they have it all kind of laid out, and they're talking about, okay, this is Bray Wyatt and Dexter Loomis and all these other people who are about to come in as the evil triumvirate to whatever it is. But again, it's neat they're doing it. So I saw it, but did I do anything with it?
It has some numbers, Brandon. Did you dirt sheet those up and see what those numbers actually were meaning?
Yeah, I've seen some theories. So I think I think they all, like, most of them equal 6 in some form or fashion. So in different ways, and then but yeah, it has they has, like you said, the Dexter Loomis hints in there, and the Eric Rowan, the Nikki Cross, and all. So it's just, I think it kind of seems like we've got 4 of them figured out, but it's like the other, like, I don't.
Got to be Alexa, right? I mean, you would think.
But so I've heard she wants to go back to her goddess character. So it could, who's the Liv Morgan's an option, but there's another girl they just recently, but they could just go 5 men and have Nikki Cross as the one woman. Joe Gacy's another one that's probably gonna be involved. And then, but like, do they bring Strowman in, or
they're doing Strowman's back now? I mean, he was drafted, right?
Yeah, they're doing different things with Strowman. So I don't know. It's intriguing. It's fun. Because each week there's gonna be a QR code. So you gotta, like, keep your eyes out when it's gonna happen. So,
I mean, how long can they build this without people just getting tired of like waiting on it? I mean, at some point they've got to pull the trigger. I mean, do we have to wait till SummerSlam to get there, or do we think we'll get it earlier?
We'll,
What do you think?
we'll see.
It's going to be interesting. I think that's kind of the intriguing thing right now for me. I'm interested right now. There's a lot of things I'm interested in, but if you keep feeding me breadcrumbs, eventually I get tired of those breadcrumbs and I'm gonna move on to something else. So I hope I like that they're leading us on a little bit, but it's kind of been one of those things they've been talking about for a while. So we'll see how soon they pull the trigger. And when they do pull the trigger, what will they do with it? Because the character Bray Wyatt was the main cog of this. I know they've taken their time to make it, I'm assuming it's going to be Uncle Howdy leading the way. I mean, how do you do it without Bray Wyatt? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, they've got one shot at it, right? I mean, this is the one shot you can, play off of Bray Wyatt's legacy. You've got one shot, and if you don't hit it, then you wasted it. So, I mean, I got confidence that Triple H is going to be the one involved in it. So I've got confidence more than I would if another person that doesn't get airtime on our show had been in control. But I guess we'll just have to see.
I've got an off topic for you, Mr. Net SN, and it's motivated by you because I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about your daughter who are sitting there, and how much fun you said you guys had at SmackDown. How that was such a memorable moment for you guys. And this is a very subtle thing, but I'm worried about it. And I know Triple H has addressed it, but they advertised multiple times that this was the biggest gate ever for SmackDown. And then during the show, they said this is the highest grossing PLE that they've ever had. There was only 11,000 people there. So think of how expensive that had to be for that to be the highest grossing arena show in the history of PLEs. And now we've kind of got this going to where they may start pricing, just the average fan out of these things when they get hot. And I don't like them bragging about that.
It's interesting. It seems like they've had a lot of, they've been advertising 18 consecutive sellouts, how many consecutive sellouts, and then now it's like the highest grossing. I feel like we're AEWing it kind of. AEW was doing that a lot. They were advertising that the big All In was like the highest, was it highest attended outdoor event ever, wrestling event ever, or something. I mean, it's like we're going back and forth between the two, like, who can have this great achievement? Next week it'll be who sells the most popcorn in wrestling history on a show, or I don't know, something. I feel like the more you say the best such and such in history, like it loses its luster a little bit. I mean, the more and more you say it, like, hey, I've got this huge announcement, and then you say I have an announcement, and then the next month, oh, I got this even bigger, huge announcement. There's people that do that all the time. It drives me up the wall. Like, okay, so is it really huge, or are you just trying to say it's huge so people will come over there? Like, you get tired. So now it's like, oh, it's just they got an announcement. It's just another announcement. It doesn't really matter. Like, I feel like you can only do that so many times to us before, like, okay, do we really care? What do we really believe it's the biggest or the most grossing arena show ever? I mean, I don't know. It just kind of seems really weird that all of a sudden all this is happening now. There were so many people there, and it was so loud. I can buy it for that one, right? I mean, if you'd have told me there was 80,000 people there, I would have believed it because it was just so loud and such a good crowd. But like at some point, you I guess just kind of overdo it, and you lose my belief. Like, I'm not going to believe you. Oh, there's no way that was the largest crowd, but this crowd over here was loud and crazy. I mean, you telling me there was more folks in it. So I don't know. That's my problem with it. You just, when you do something over and over and over and over, it's like the boy that cries wolf story. Like, you do it so many times. How many times are they really going to come and listen to what you have to say? I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
On the crowd part, I do like though that however many people there, but that they've shrunk the stage and got rid of the jumbotron, and there's fans like on top of the entrance now, and they're doing cool things with the camera angles, and the fans are like right there on top of the, you don't have that stage where they're having to, where like Edge always had to run back and forth to do.
Well, that's why they're getting more attendance, because there's more seat, right? I mean, because
it looks good. It looks good on TV. It really
Mhm.
pops. It looks good visually. So
Yeah, because you take that. It takes if you go to an arena and you put the old stage up, that takes like a quarter of the seats out, so you lose all that space. So if you have that available, which makes sense if they're not having trouble selling tickets, why would you not open up more seats? I mean, that's business sense, right? I mean, it makes sense a lot. And then
it reminds me of the old In Your House pay-per-views.
it's less setup too. Speaking of that, we don't do NXT, Brandon, but I know you do follow NXT a little bit. I'm going to talk about the pay-per-views coming up. And one of them that we really don't cover is in NXT. But how do you feel about them bringing the NXT Battleground over to the Apex there in Las Vegas?
I like that. I mean, you're the same company now with UFC, and hey, that we've seen little things where they've kind of crossed over with getting advertisements in the ring now and different things. I mean, it's a creative thing. I think eventually, I don't know when, maybe 2030. Eventually, I think we get a crossover show. We get a show that's half UFC fights, half maybe UFC 400 or something. UFC 400, maybe if it lands on the same day as WrestleMania 50, I don't know, but eventually we're gonna get a mega show with just bangers on both sides, and so this
Maybe
is just a build up.
Maybe Saturday's one, and Sunday's the other, or something.
Oh no, I think we have it like in a big enough place where you have the and we do some wrestling matches in the cage, and we do some.
Oh.
I mean, we have them right by each other or something. I mean, I think we go all out. So
that would be funny. That would be interesting.
Do them all on the same day. Just rotate matches or.
Well, the next time we have a show will be a big show, guys. In a couple of weeks, AEW Double or Nothing and WWE King and Queen of the Ring in the same weekend. Here in a couple of weeks, we'll come back together. Maybe we can recruit some of our friends back. I think we've ran some of them off.
Have y'all seen the Queen of the Ring bracket? They haven't filled out all the way the SmackDown part. Have you seen the King of the Ring bracket?
I have not.
I've seen some of the people that are in it, and so some of the matches that you're going to have, or some of the people who are going to have to lose, it's fascinating. It's almost back to the old school one where you just can't look at it and go, okay, that person's going to win because Gunther, LA Knight, Jey Uso, at one point Drew Mac, like who's jobbing to who? You don't know. So I'm a little fascinated by it.
They can use it to build some storylines, probably.
Yeah, the bracket. I thought originally that Dragunov and Gunther were on the same side, and that they wouldn't meet to the semifinals. Now I thought they would meet in the second round, but if that match ever happens, that would be. But I just we'll see. But the SmackDown kicks off on this week. They're going to kick off the SmackDown side, and you got AJ Styles against Randy Orton in the first round, and then Carmelo against Baron Corbin, LA Knight against Santos Escobar, and then Bobby Lashley against Tama Tonga. So, but down the line, you have some interesting, and then the Raw side, since you haven't watched Raw, I'll tell you what the first round of Raw, the matchups are, but some of them happened last night. But it's Gunther against Sheamus, Kofi against Mysterio, Dragunov against Ricochet, and Jey Uso. It was supposed to be Finn Balor against Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre wasn't cleared, so it's Finn Balor against Jey. That was announced before Raw, so it's not really a spoiler. I won't tell you who won the match, but the bracket lines up pretty well. The Queen of the Ring, they haven't said the SmackDown side yet, but the Raw side, it's the Queen of the Ring's not as intriguing. We'll see as we get further. And I'm interested to see the SmackDown side and see how it unfolds, but there could be some interesting matchups.
Yeah, it should be exciting. Should be a really.
I just hope they do something with the winners. Like the last few times, they haven't when we thought of King of the Ring it propelled Stone Cold, Bret Hart, it propelled people. It didn't do nothing for Xavier Woods or Zelina Vega. Like I think it should have some kind of title shot involved with it or something. I don't know, but even if it's like Intercontinental or US or something, but I want it to mean something more than but I'm intrigued. I'm glad they brought it back.
Yeah, it's gonna they're gonna be able to use these as big matches, and what I like about them is they mean something, right? We have meaningful matches that we need to watch on Raw SmackDown. It's nothing worse than tuning into SmackDown and watching two wrestlers go at it, and there's no why. Why are they fighting? Like, do they not like each other? What's the like? At least you have a meaningful match. You can stick two guys that have no storyline going, and it's for the King of the Ring. So who cares, right? And they have a reason to be fighting each other. So it's an easy booking tool, I guess. They can use, and they can use those if their storyline's already going. Somebody comes in, interferes, costs them the King of the Ring. Now that's they're more fuel to go after each other. They can use it to kind of bounce storylines off each other. So that makes it interesting for me. And we'll see what kind of again, the new era. We'll see how they do these King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring brackets and matches. It looks like right now there's some intriguing matches to me, but and then we'll also have AEW Double or Nothing. So that first one will be May 25th. That's on a Saturday. I guess it's in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So that won't be during the daytime. And then May 26th, the Sunday pay-per-view. I think that's Memorial Day weekend, right? So that's the normal. So long weekend, lots of wrestling. I'm excited about that weekend. AEW Double or Nothing. Mercedes Monet making her debut supposedly. I think I'm kind of behind on my AEW, but I need to catch up on a little bit. But I'm excited about that one. Double or Nothing's always a great card. We've got lots of stories being told. You've got the EVPs. You got will MJF show up at some point here? I don't know. You got the Adam Cole now all magically healed. Will Britt Baker show up? I mean, there's lots of things going on.
Kenny Omega came back, but
yeah, he's back, but now he's not. I don't know. I haven't got to see that one, but I know he came back and then he was attacked, I believe. So
they're attacking everybody right now.
I mean,
Jack Perry's on a mission.
So there's lots going on. It's going to be a great pay per view again. Hopefully, Matt, you maybe just do your apology tour and apologize to KO, Swaggy, and I don't know that Jeremy Hubbard guy. Maybe we can get him back. I think he might have lost like sense of his wrestling knowledge.
It's a busy time of year for him, just like all of us. But he's got extra duties right now.
I think they won tonight. Actually, the
going to state
softball team going to state. So congratulations. Speaking of that, I know I'm going to have kind of a relaxing rest of the week. Brandon, you're not. Where are you going to be bouncing around to all week?
I got softball. I got like 3 signings tomorrow and a softball game. I got a signing and a softball game Thursday, and then Friday's up in the air. Friday and Saturday depends what happens the next 2 nights. Where I'll go Friday and Saturday. You know, these if game 3s and it depends who's still playing Friday and Saturday where I'll go Friday and Saturday. But I will have a game, at least one game the next. And on Saturday I could have 2 or 3, just depending. So, yeah. But I'll at least have one game the next 4 days.
All right.
And one thing you will know is when he writes it up, it'll be coming from an award-winning sports writer.
Oh yeah, Brandon, award-winning. That rest. That was the one, Brandon.
That was like probably the worst of the bunch, but it worked.
Oh no, and you didn't even put our friend's picture in there. I'm disappointed. That would have probably given you an extra prize there for that one. Matt, you what's the rest of your week looking like? You got any? Do you have any softball, baseball cover plans there? And does the FW play those sports?
Cross country tomorrow.
Oh, your twins. Do they both run?
They both run. So we got 8th grade
cross country in May.
Who's the faster one? Do we have one that's the faster than the other?
We do have a fast one, and then May 16th, next Thursday, I will be the voice of the Plano East Spring Game. So I'm excited about that.
Wow. The last 6A regular champions, right? Is that what looking like?
The last ever 6A basketball undisputed basketball champions.
That's funny. Oh man. Oh, well, that's awesome. I'm excited. I know I don't know how you do it. Having 2 girls having to compete against each other like that. That's got to be tough. You know, you want them both to win, and usually they're on the same team, but in that they're individually. That's got to be a little hard for you as a dad.
Well, I mean, it is individual, but the way cross country works, it's all the middle schools are against each other, so they
That's
get
true.
points and they're competing for the same team. So we view it like that. We're hoping our middle school wins. We won the first meet, and we're looking to win the next one.
What school is this?
Murphy Middle School. We run Plano
Is
ISD
that
right now.
Plano ISD? Okay.
Okay, so that feed into Plano East though, right? So you'll
What's-
have
what's-
Plano East
what-
high schoolers next year. That's exciting, right?
What's the Murphy Middle School mascot?
They're the Mavericks.
Mavericks.
Murphy Middle School
Speaking
Mavericks.
of the Mavericks, we gotta go. We gotta
Yeah.
go to watch the Mavericks lose to the Thunder.
Hey, you know, I've got my Stars gear on. I'm ready for the Stars. My Stars winning Game 7 there tonight. I'm excited. You got to have two
Brandon's
TVs
got his
tonight.
3 TV set up like March Madness for tonight.
Yeah, you got to have.
We have the Rangers going on too.
Yeah, I ain't watching the Stars. So.
Oh, what? This in the Stars, Brendan? Man,
if it's tied with 5 minutes to go in Game 7, I'll turn it on like I did the other day.
Here's the deal. If you got odds on who's got the best chance to go all the way, Stars have a better chance than the Mavericks.
Well, hockey's just all luck. So
I love the Mavericks. Don't get me wrong, I want them to win, but just if you had odds on it, the Stars are they're Western Conference champions, Brandon.
But that doesn't really matter. Like
We just knocked
anybody can beat anybody. It's who doesn't fall off their skates that night.
Oh man, Brandon, you must not watch much hockey.
There's 5 good players. Everybody else is the same. No one you're not Wayne Gretzky. Everybody else is the same.
Oh well, Brandon,
they all know how to skate and they all know how to shoot. Like
you got to learn some hockey. You need to learn some hockey, Brandon. I know it's East Texas, but you got to learn some hockey. So before next show, we'll come back and see where the Stars and Mavericks how they ended up. Okay, I'm hoping they're both still playing myself, but we'll see. You know, we'll still be here. We'll still be here. And Off the Ropes next time, we'll talk AEW Double or Nothing and WWE King of the Ring and Queen. We'll have some more of our friends join us. Camden, thanks for joining us tonight. To be our guest. Your is working.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We enjoyed it. Maybe she's going to replace that KO guy or maybe Swaggy. I don't know.
And if she doesn't come back, I'll be blamed for killing off another character.
That's going to do it for tonight's Off the Ropes episode 6. We reviewed WWE Backlash. We'll be back here in a few weeks for episode 27. I'm your host, Brett Swinney. Thanks for tuning in. Cheat Brandon, Matt Diggs, and my daughter Camden. We'll see you next time on Off the Ropes. Have a great evening and a great rest of your week, everyone.
Gonna give them what they came to see. Hear the crowd on the toes, ready for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up, I'm home. Whoa, my father said when I was younger, hard top 3 better man. You took it all away, I give it all away. You take my freedom, here to change the game, a better man to play. I built my kingdom, now you bow to me. You took my dreams but not my name. You'll follow me until the end. I am my kingdom. You tried to tell me what